The African palm civet, the hidden life of Africa's mysterious forest mammal. What if one of Africa's strangest mammals lived almost completely hidden in the forest? Meet the African palm civet. It moves through the darkness, almost like a shadow, climbing trees, searching for food and avoiding attention. But when it comes to finding a mate, raising young, and surviving in the forest, its story becomes even more fascinating. So how does this mysterious animal live? How does it find a mate? Where does it raise its young? And what happens during the first stages of a baby palm civet's life? Let's enter the forest and uncover the hidden world of the African palm civet. The African palm civet, scientifically known as Nandinia binotata, is a small to medium-sized mammal found across parts of sub-Saharan Africa. Despite its name, it is not a true civet in the same sense as many other animals commonly called civets. It belongs to its own distinct evolutionary family, Nandinidae, and that makes this animal especially interesting. At first glance, the African palm civet may look like a mixture of several familiar animals. It has a long body, a long tail, rounded ears, a pointed face, and sharp claws. Its coat is usually brownish or grayish, with darker markings that help break up its outline in the forest. But its appearance is only part of the story. The real mystery begins when the sun goes down. During the day, African palm civets are generally secretive and spend much of their time resting in vegetation, trees, or sheltered locations. Then darkness arrives, the forest changes, birds settle down, many daytime animals disappear into their shelters, and a different community of creatures begins to move. Among them is the African palm civet. With the cover of darkness, it becomes more active. Its large eyes help it navigate the nighttime environment, while its sensitive nose and whiskers help it investigate the world around it. Instead of rushing through the forest, it can move carefully and deliberately. A branch moves, leaves rustle, a scent catches its attention. The civet stops. It investigates. Then it continues. This cautious behavior is important because life in the forest is full of danger. Even though the palm civet is a predator of smaller animals and consumes a wide variety of foods, it can also become prey itself. Remaining difficult to detect can be one of its greatest defenses, and the forest provides the perfect hiding place. Thick vegetation creates countless pathways. Tree roots create shelters. Branches provide routes above the forest floor. Darkness provides another layer of protection. The African palm civet is well suited to this environment. It is an excellent climber and can spend significant time moving through trees and vegetation. Its claws help it grip surfaces, while its long tail contributes to balance as it moves along branches. But it does not live entirely on animals. Its diet is remarkably varied. Fruit can be an important part of what it eats. It may also consume insects, small vertebrates, eggs, and other available food. This flexible diet gives the palm civet an advantage in an environment where food availability can change from one season to another. One night, fruit may be abundant. Another night, the animal may spend more time searching among leaves, branches, and the forest floor for other food. Its ability to take advantage of different resources helps it survive. And there is another important part of its diet. Because it consumes fruit, the African palm civet can also interact with the forest in ways that extend beyond simply finding food. When animals eat fruits and later move through the forest, they can transport seeds to new locations. In this way, fruit-eating mammals can contribute to the movement and regeneration of plants. So this secretive animal is not simply passing through the forest, it is participating in the ecosystem. But food is only one part of the story. At some point in its life, reproduction becomes essential. And this is where the secretive nature of the African palm civet makes its life especially difficult for scientists to observe. Unlike some large mammals that can be studied easily in open habitats, palm civets spend much of their lives in dense vegetation and darkness. Their reproductive behavior is therefore less well documented than that of many better-known African mammals. Still, researchers know that reproduction involves interactions between adult males and females, with scent and other forms of communication playing important roles. For an animal that spends so much time in a world of darkness, smell is extremely valuable. A scent can reveal that another animal has passed through an area. It can provide information about identity, it can help animals recognize potential mates, and it can help individuals communicate without needing to see each other clearly. Imagine moving through a forest where visibility is limited. You cannot always see what is ahead, but your nose can tell you that another animal was recently nearby. For a nocturnal mammal, that information can be extremely useful. When a male and female encounter one another, they may investigate each other carefully. There is no need for a dramatic chase. Instead, communication can happen through scent, body language, and close-range investigation. The two animals may approach cautiously. They may sniff each other. They may move around one another. And eventually, if the interaction leads to mating, reproduction begins. The actual mating process is rarely witnessed in the wild. Much of what scientists know about the species comes from observations of animals, captive individuals, field studies, and broader knowledge of its biology. After mating, the female eventually gives birth to young. But unlike humans, there is no nursery waiting for the newborn. There is no safe hospital. There is only the forest, and the forest can be unforgiving. A mother must provide protection in a world filled with predators, parasites, competition, and environmental challenges. Finding a suitable sheltered location is therefore important. A natural cavity, dense vegetation, or another protected location can provide a place where vulnerable young can remain hidden. The exact details of den selection and maternal behavior in wild African palm civets are not completely understood. And that uncertainty is important. There is still much scientists do not know about this elusive animal, but we do know that newborn palm civets are dependent on their mother during their early development. At birth, the baby is tiny compared with the adult. It cannot immediately explore the forest. It cannot climb confidently through the canopy. It cannot independently search for food. Instead, its early world is small. It is surrounded by darkness, vegetation, and the familiar presence of its mother. For the mother, this period is a time of intense responsibility. She must protect herself while caring for her young. She must find food, she must avoid danger, and she must keep the vulnerable baby concealed. For the newborn, every day is part of a gradual transformation. The muscles become stronger. The senses develop. Movement becomes more coordinated. The young animal begins learning about its surroundings. At first, its world may be little more than the shelter where it rests. But eventually, curiosity begins to take over. A sound comes from outside. Leaves move. Light enters through the vegetation. The young civet begins to approach the entrance. It stops. It looks. Then it retreats. Another attempt. A little farther this time. This is how exploration begins. The forest is no longer simply a dark space outside the shelter. It becomes a classroom. Every branch can teach balance. Every scent can provide information. Every movement can reveal something about danger or food. And the mother becomes an important guide. Young mammals learn through experience. They observe, they follow, they investigate, they make mistakes, and gradually they become more capable. For a young palm civet, climbing is particularly important. The forest canopy can provide food, shelter, and escape routes. But moving through branches requires coordination. The young animal must learn how to place its paws securely. It must learn how to shift its weight. It must learn how to use its claws. And its long tail can help with balance as it moves through its environment. At first, a young animal may appear awkward. A branch that seems easy for an adult can be challenging for a youngster. But repetition changes everything. One step becomes two. Two steps become a climb. And eventually, the young civet can move with much greater confidence. It is also learning the forest smells, the scent of fruit, the scent of another animal, the scent of danger, the scent of its mother. The forest is filled with chemical messages that humans often cannot detect. For the palm civet, these invisible signals are part of everyday life. And as the young animal grows, its independence increases. Eventually, it will no longer need to remain close to its mother all the time. The exact timing of development can vary, and scientists still have gaps in their understanding of the species in the wild. That is one of the reasons continued wildlife research is so important. The African palm civet is not one of Africa's most famous animals. It does not have the size of an elephant. It does not have the speed of a cheetah. It does not have the massive jaws of a crocodile. It does not dominate documentaries in the way lions often do. Instead, it survives quietly, and perhaps that is what makes it so fascinating. It is a specialist in remaining unnoticed. While people sleep, it can be moving through branches. While people sleep, it can be moving through branches. While the forest appears empty, it may be searching for food. While predators look elsewhere, it may be slipping through vegetation. And while humans may never see it, the animal continues its life cycle, finding food, finding shelter, finding a mate, raising young, and eventually sending the next generation into the forest. But the African palm civet faces challenges. Its forest environment is not unlimited. Across Africa, tropical forests can be affected by logging, agriculture, hunting, development, and habitat fragmentation. When forests become divided into smaller pieces, animals can lose access to food, shelter, and safe movement routes. A species that depends on forest environments can be particularly affected when those environments disappear or become degraded. This is why protecting forests is about much more than protecting famous animals. A forest is an interconnected system. The trees provide food and shelter. Plants depend on pollinators and seed dispersers. Insects become food for other animals. Predators depend on prey. And mammals like the African palm civet become part of that enormous network. Remove one part, and the effects can spread through the ecosystem. Protecting habitat gives wildlife the best opportunity to continue these natural processes. And for secretive animals like the palm civet, habitat protection is especially important because their behavior is often difficult for humans to observe. We may not realize how much wildlife exists simply because we rarely see it. A forest can appear quiet, but beneath that silence, life is everywhere. A small movement in the leaves may be an insect. A distant sound may be a bird. A branch moving high above the ground may reveal a climbing mammal. And somewhere in the darkness, an African palm civet may be following its nightly routine. This is one of the most remarkable things about wildlife. Not every important story happens in front of a camera. Some stories happen quietly, some happen once and are never observed, and some remain mysteries until researchers find new ways to study them. The African palm civet still has many secrets. Scientists continue to learn about its behavior, ecology, communication, reproduction, and role within African forest ecosystems. There is a lot we know, but there is also a lot we do not know, and that mystery is part of what makes the species worth protecting. Think back to the tiny newborn. It begins life hidden from the world. Its mother protects it. It grows, it learns, it begins to explore. Eventually, the young civet follows its mother into the forest. One day it may travel through the branches on its own. One day it may find its own food. One day it may find a mate. And eventually it may produce the next generation. The cycle continues. One generation disappears into the forest, while another takes its place. And almost all of it happens beyond our view. The next time you walk through a forest and hear leaves moving in the darkness, remember that the forest may not be empty. There may be an entire world operating around you. A world of scents, sounds, movement, survival, and reproduction. And somewhere within that hidden world may be one of Africa's most mysterious mammals, the African palm civet, small enough to disappear into vegetation, quiet enough to escape attention, adapted enough to survive the darkness, and mysterious enough that scientists are still uncovering the details of its life, from the search for food to the search for a mate, from a hidden shelter to the arrival of a newborn, and from a vulnerable baby to an independent young animal learning to navigate the forest. The life of the African palm civet is a story of survival, a story that reminds us that nature does not always need to be loud to be extraordinary. Sometimes the most fascinating animals are the ones we almost never see. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden life of the African palm civet, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who loves wildlife, and subscribe to Bodyverse TV for more fascinating human and animal facts. Because there is always another hidden story waiting to be discovered.